Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Batman Miniature Game 3rd edition for the channel, and today in the 350 rep match being played, the Soldiers of Fortune featuring some new reinforcements for Bane's crew are going up against the Cobra Kali-Yuga, which we'll just call the Cobra Cult for brevity's sake. On the table layout you can see before you. Let's go take a look at the specifics so we can get this underway. So here is Bane, Soldiers of Fortune crew this time, featuring the Suppressor box, I think it was called. But it's a mixture of first edition and second edition models that have been changed, upscaled and revamped, as it were. So the original Militia Lieutenant and Medic, instead of being based on how they look in the Arkham Knight video game, they've now got their own unique look, and I think the other three are from first edition, but that was before my time with the game. So it's the Arkham Asylum Bane leading today, bringing along his suppressors, as I said. So that is Smash with the big hammer at the back there, that is the Lieutenant, that is the Medic, that is McGregor with the knife, that is Ted Hunter with the shotgun at the back there, and as a free agent bringing along the Arkham Asylum Scarecrow. I've kind of been workshopping having that Scarecrow in a Scarecrow crew list led by Dr. Fright. Him or the other free agent one do fit in that way, and I'm curious how it would work. I'm going to have to try that sometime. Anyway, upgrade wise, I have to look over here to the app. Bane has the Venom Laboratory, even though he has Titan, but still, he'll be using a Titan every turn, unless stated otherwise, because he has 4. The Scarecrow has Secret Laboratory, so he picks 2 henchmen and he can do Inspire Fear from them. He is picking McGregor and Smash. Ted Hunter has a Camel Vest, McGregor has a Venom Dose, so does Smash, and Smash also has Neurotropic Drugs, so he'll be moving a little bit further, 2 extra inches, and he can dodge if he gets shot at. The Medic also has a Camel Vest, so it'll be harder to see him and Ted Hunter. And that is it in the way of upgrades to the Soldiers of Fortune. So there's also 7 miniatures in the Cobra Cult list, being led by Jeffrey himself, and being joined as a free agent by Deadshot. Other than that, it is just an assortment of his goons, and also his sidekick Lady Eve. She has the poison training upgrade, just to make poison. Actually, does it give her poison? No, it gives her Poison Master, yeah. The only other upgrade, there was $50 left in funding, so the Lancehead Captain, which is this lady here, she has an antidote, so she's immune to poison. Not really going to be relevant. She is joined by Lancehead 1 with the knife, Lancehead 2 with the 5-shot carbine, and then we also have, let's see what this sword called again, he is the Soldier Captain, Lancehead 1, Lancehead 2, yep, and that's it. So as I say, there's a lot of funding here because there's a few guns, so very sparse in terms of upgrades, and as per usual with this version of a cult, they build up faith, but any leftover faith is actually bad for Jeffrey, as opposed to Deacon Blackfire, who likes having leftover faith. With that, we'll get deployed and be back at deployment. So we are all set up and good to go, but there is some things to discuss thanks to cards being played, and also did forget to mention, just in case you haven't seen them on the table before, but Arkham Asylum Scarecrow has Shadowed Nightmare, so he is not starting on the table. He'll be coming in on the back of a suspect marker, play friendly or otherwise, and can have Audacity given to him, and he has been. So there is 2 cards being played, 2 phase 2s, both by the Cobra Cult. First is Ritual, so they're going to aim to try and have a suspect marker that has 3 others within 6, and if it does score at the end of their turn, it scores for 3, but then you have to remove 2 of them. And also, Jeffrey's card came out, the Cobra Viral Bomb. Very early to see it, just as the game begins. It's a phase 2. You place the Cobra Bomb within 4 inches of the center. We're just using the resource marker there to mark the bomb itself. Then within 8 you put 3 diffusers. So there's 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. If all 3 are diffused, the bomb just goes away. Otherwise, it explodes at the end of a turn, and anyone friendly or otherwise within 8 takes 2 blood damage, although it has to hurt an enemy for it to actually score. It does offer up this nice big area of denial though, so Soldier of Fortune might not want to get close. Either way, we can take a look at where everyone is. So Ted Hunter and the Lieutenant are down here, they both have Audacity. Scarecrow has 1 and Bane has 1. The Medic is nearby. He's slightly behind because he wanted to be out of 4 of the light to take advantage of his Camel Vest. And then McGregor and Smash are over there. Deadshot is a little bit precariously perched up there in the scaffolding with Audacity. Lady Eve and the Captain are down here with Audacity, and then Jeffrey was over here with the 4th Audacity and the rest of his troops. So Lancehead 1, 2 and the Captain right there. Oh, and by Captain I of course mean Soldier. Captain is the one next to Lady Eve with the gun. Soldier is the one with the sword kind of doing the charge motion. So it was the Cobra Cult who got first activation. I think I forgot to mention that in the overview of the first turn. But it is over to them, and Lancehead 1 activated without Audacity, moving up to put down a suspect marker using the Manipulate from Jeffrey. Now, the Cobra Cult started with 1 faith because of Lady Eve being a fervent follower. That was spent on another ritual card, and it says a friendly model placing a suspect can spend its special action to place an additional suspect and may place both within 4 inches. So that is why there's 2. Now, he didn't have Audacity, so he couldn't have done his special action any other way, but he does still have one, he just didn't use it. So presumably that is okay. Rules as presented makes it seem like that's okay, because he could have opted not to move and done a special action. So I think it's worded in the way it does, because if you do this with a character who does have Audacity, they wouldn't then be able to do another special action. So he is placing 2, and he has given himself 1 stun to do as a free action Cobra Armor, which just gives him +1 defense die next time he gets to roll defense dice. The medic activated first for Bane's crew, no Audacity, but right next to the boss himself. He moved down here, making sure to stay just outside of 8 of the Cobra Bomb over there. The suspect marker he ended up putting down is not outside of 8, but that doesn't matter. So he put down the suspect marker, and during his turn, he put into play Global Offensive. You have to play it during an activation, but it doesn't score until the end of the round. Have more friendly models with the veteran trait in play than there are enemy suspect markers. I don't know offhand how many of them have the veteran trait. It's probably all of them. We'll look into that and be back with the Cobra Cult's next activation. It is indeed every model on the Soldiers of Fortune crew that has a veteran, except Scarecrow, because he's not actually part of them, he's just a free agent. But the rest of them do, so they'll be aiming to get at least 6 suspect markers down if they want to counter a Global Offensive. Anyway, Lady Eve activated for the Cobra Cult. She moved up just enough to be outside of the 2 of deployment to put down a suspect marker, just outside of 8 of the Cobra Bomb, so basically kind of doing what the medic did. Put down the suspect marker there. Oh, she did also do 1 stun damage to herself to give herself the Cobra Armor +1, and that'll be there in a second. Forgot to mention, but just in general it is happening, just not going to mention it every single time, but Jeffrey's going to be generating faith based on friendlies putting suspect markers down within 8 of him, so because that was a double play there, presumably that does generate 2, not 1. That's just why I'm bringing that up right now, but that's more faith to potentially play with or hurt him if it's not spent by the end of the turn. So we're interrupting play a little bit there, not because Scarecrow's coming in off the back of that suspect marker, but it turns out the suspect marker Lady put down was in fact Bane's teddy bear. Osito has been played, so essentially that suspect marker is no longer existing. It has become a loot marker, but it's a special one that Bane in particular must have at no matter the cost. The model that is next to it doesn't need to pick it up because it says may control it. So Lady Eve is going to opt to leave it sitting there because she doesn't want to be the target of Bane's ire, because it gives him a bunch of bonuses against her +1 to attack dice rolls, and if he ends closer to it he can move an additional 4. So he doesn't want, or she doesn't want Bane chasing her down like that, so she's just going to leave Osito sitting there. But it doesn't count as a suspect marker anymore because it doesn't say it does, so another one could technically be placed right next to it now. McGregor was up for Bane's crew, no Audacity, but right next to the man himself. He moved up using that shipping container there for cover, has put down a suspect marker, and off the back of that, Scarecrow decided that now is the time to come in, because otherwise it's a bit awkward, especially with the viral bomb being on the map. So he has appeared over there. He's not getting any special innervating on any enemy henchmen, but he's there and he does have Audacity, so he will be able to move in more if he chooses to. During McGregor's turn, he put Free For All into play. This was mostly to get it out of hand, but guess what they drew in after getting rid of it. So by the end of the turn, have more friendly models than any models not suffering KO within 4 of the centre. The centre of the map is roughly the corner of this building right there, obviously within the AoE of the viral bomb, so it's not going to score, but hey, it's in play. Lancehead 2 activated, moved up, and used Jeffrey's Inspire to do a manipulate action to put down a suspect marker there, just outside of 4 of that, but still within 6 of the first one placed. And he actually scored Can Be Anyone. A friendly model no enemy model can draw line of sight to places a suspect marker within 6 inches of an enemy model. Scarecrow being round the corner there means that he cannot be seen, and the street sweeper there blocks. I don't even think McGregor could see him if that street sweeper wasn't there, honestly, because he's round the corner of the shipping container as well. So yeah, he is within 6 of Scarecrow just, and that is the first actual scored card of the game. Well, a decision has been made regarding Smash. How is he meant to smash if he can't go near half the table thanks to that Cobra Bomb? So he activated up in front of the Triple X bar there. He didn't have Audacity, but he was right next to Bane. He has 10 inches normally, 12 thanks to the neurotropic drugs, and he used those 12 inches to charge into the rough centre of the table. Yes, it means the bomb is going to hit him. He put down a suspect marker using that free inspired manipulate, and then for 1 resource point used ground war. Target a friendly suspect marker. It's considered an advanced position. It's still a suspect marker, but it gives friendly models within 4 of it cover till the end of the round. So that means if Deadshot decides to try and unload into him, he's getting cover. He has a bulletproof vest as well built in, so and he's large, so he'll ignore some stun damage and he'll lose 2 dice just from the cover and the bulletproof vest alone, so making him not an optimal target. Does also mean if anyone else moves in, yes, they'll get hit by the Cobra bomb, but it reduces their chances of getting shot, because there is still a gun on the captain there as well. The Lancehead Soldier activated, just moved outside of the 2 inches from deployment and just outside of 4 of that suspect marker there to put down one of his own using Jeffrey's Inspire. So that means that suspect marker has 3 within 6, but obviously they're outside of 4 except the one that was allowed to be placed within 4. So the ritual will score at the end of the round unless something is done about one of these suspect markers. So Bane decided to activate, and as you might be able to notice, he's not within current camera view. That's because he can move a pretty long way, especially if a Ceto is on the table. He's 10 inches base. He has a Titan dose for every turn of the game. He uses a Titan dose. It gives him +1 to his attack and defense stats. Gives him 4 more inches to his movement, taking him to 14. It also lets him ignore the first 2 damage he would take a turn. Although he loses all the effects if he ever takes 3 or more blood in a single attack. Also, if he ends his movement closer to Ceto than when he started, he gets another 2 inches of movement on top of that. Or was it 4? It might have been another 4, honestly. Yeah, I think it was another 4, so that was 18 inches. So he just charged all the way down here, got him to roughly here-ish, and then he had the extra for Ceto. So he moved himself over here, so he is outside of the range of the Cobra bomb. And one of the event markers was there. You'll notice it's not there anymore. That is not because he tried to defuse it. It's because he used his special action called Savage Throw, which I don't think he used last time he was on the table. You pick a marker within 2. So a marker is a very vague term that covers a lot of stuff in the game. Event markers, sewers, lampposts, they are all markers. So he picked up the defuse and you chuck it 8 inches at someone you can see. So he threw it, instead of trying to defuse the bomb, he opted instead to pick up the diffuser and throw it as hard as he can at Lady Eve's face. It counts as a ranged attack. You just roll the strength die, and if it hits, which it did 2 stun damage, which is just hilarious. The Lancehead Captain activated for the Cobra Cult. She's got a gun, and it's a double blood gun. She moved to fire it though, so she was losing 2 dice for that. She positioned herself outside of 8 of the Cobra bomb. I'm actually not 100% sure he's outside of 8. We'll need to measure that carefully. But either way, she wanted to shoot at Bane, because he presented himself as a target. Lady Eve, thanks to Void Priest, the new definition for Void Priest, spent 2 faith points to give the attack poison. It just specifies attack, it doesn't say close range or long range, so presumably you can do it to whatever type of attack. It might just mean close combat, but it doesn't say that, so we're saying it can go on a ranged attack. So that gave her poison, and she shot at Bane, who is currently normally defense 2 against ranged attacks, but he's defense 3. He does have the like flies to me rule, so in close combat he counts his defense as whatever the attack is of the opponent. He got hit twice, but thanks to being on Titan, 2 of that gets ignored. So he did take 2 blood damage though, not enough to cancel the effects of Titan, so he'll still have that negation and debuffs unless Deadshot gets rid of them. But she did do at least 1 blood damage, and she is within 4 of a friendly suspect, so Sacrifice has scored for 2. Ted Hunter activated for Bane's crew and decided the Cobra bomb being there is annoying, so he took the sewer instead and has teleported himself all the way up over here with McGregor and Scarecrow to kind of back them up, because Bane's on the other end of the table now and he doesn't really need help at the moment anyway, given that he started with 14 health. While Bane got a chance to test his resilience against Deadshot, Deadshot activated, moved to the edge there, used Rapid Fire as well for a special action, so he was losing 2 dice from moving but gained 1 from Rapid Fire. He shot Bane, who is getting cover on the angle that Deadshot picked, and he got 2 hits through, all said and done, for 4 blood, 2 stun. However, Bane is huge, so he ignores 2 stun. The Titan is still in effect, and it's per source of damage that the mitigation kicks in from his Titan Addict rule. So 2 of that goes away as well, meaning, once again, 2 damage has gone through to Bane for 4 in total, leaving him on 10 health. Well, second last activation of the first round for Soldiers of Fortune was the Lieutenant, formerly called Militia Lieutenant, now called Lieutenant Op, and actually the medic is called Medic Op now. Either way, she activated and moved 8 over to there. She's not able to get out of the range of the Cobra Bomb, so she's going to get caught by it as well. As a special action though, she used Follow Me on the medic, so he'll have plus 4 inches of movement next time he activates in turn 2. She could have put down a suspect marker, maybe, I think, if that's just outside of 4. That one opted not to though. And with that, it's over to Jeffrey to end off the first round for the Cobra Cult. Well, Jeffrey had a very strange and dangerous turn. He is a cult leader, he's probably crazy. He activated, moved 10 inches, charged up. Oh, I forgot to mention, he does start the game having to pick what benefit he gets from his Deadliest Man on Earth rule. It's always Scheming 3. Scheming 3 is just the best option out of the 3. The other 2 are Street Fighter and Exhaustive Planner, I think. Either way, he moved up into base to base with Smash. However, he is actually just manipulating this suspect marker here to remove it. Now, him moving where he did means that it's a draw for free-for-all, so that will not score. It does mean his own bomb is going to hit him as well, but that seemed worth it because he's also scoring a card. He is scoring Sabotage. Reveal an enemy suspect marker. There is no enemy suspect markers within 4 inches of any of the edges of the gaming table, which is true. So Jeffrey scored 2, denied 2, and is going to get hit for 2 blood, but at the end of the day he is immortal, so even if he does get taken out, he doesn't score cards off dying, or the enemy can't score cards off him dying. So it seemed like the best option. With that, it is over to Scarecrow to end off the round entirely. So Jonathan Crane came around the corner and got into close combat with Lancet 2 to try and deny that gun firing next turn, or at least firing at full capacity. He efforted twice, so did his target. Well, his target picks first, but they both efforted twice. He attacked with his single blood syringe. It does poison and terror. He got 2 hits through for the 2 blood that you can see there, the poison there as well. So there is 1 card in the terror pile now. So if the Cobra Cult want that card back, they're going to have to suffer whatever effect it is based on the type of card that has been put into the terror pile. For doing all that, Scarecrow actually did manage to score a Search and Destroy because he got 2 successful hits in an attack where he did 2 efforts. That's actually the first card scored by Soldiers of Fortune this turn. The rest were just in play. They're a little bit behind. Everything's still to play for, of course, but that's the only card they've scored so far, technically. He didn't do anything else. Did I mention he did Inspire Fear? I think I forgot. He did Inspire Fear before initiating attack. He only failed it by 2, so it just gave him Scared, which did matter for the attack because it's -1 attack and defense rolls. But I was kind of hoping to make him fail it by a lot, given he's only a 4/4 miniature. Either way, though, that takes us to the end of the round. So the end of battle round 1. That building got knocked slightly. It should be roughly there. There we go. At the end of battle round 1, both poisoned targets on the table have taken no damage. So that's the Lancehead 2 and Bane. The bomb went off, though. Did a bunch of damage. So the Lieutenant takes 2 blood. I thought he might have been in range, but it was actually her. So she's taken 2, Jeffrey's taken 2, Smash has taken 2, and that is it. So that does mean that the bomb has scored for 3, and Ritual scored for 3 as well, and 2 suspect markers had to be removed. So the one that was there and the one under Scarecrow has been removed for that. They've still got 1 card stuck in their terror pile, and that's it for them. For the cards in play, and also playing a new one for Soldiers of Fortune, the worst card in the game because of how ambiguous it is, Ground War, is scoring. That Street Sweeper is within 8 of the deployment zone. Scarecrow and Ted Hunter are both within 4 of it. So that scores. So Ground War has scored for 3. Free for All doesn't know. Jeffrey made sure of that. So that's gone because it's 1-all. Global Offensive does score because they are 1, 2, 3. Well, if you count prior to the 2 being removed by Ritual, they still only have 4. So there is 6 models with Veteran on the table. So that does score, and Osito stays in play. We'll cover whether or not Jeffrey decides to make use of his scheming at the top of round 2. So we're at the top of turn 2. Jeffrey did not use his scheming, but I did forget to mention it ended the last turn with 2 unused faith points, I believe it was. So one of that's healed now, but he did take 2 stun damage. And he generates 1 new faith point at the start of a turn thanks to Lady Eve. He's playing cards. Soldiers of Fortune are not. Soldiers of Fortune did take first activation though, and now that they're up and close and personal, they're going to be able to start dishing out some punishment to the weaker Cobra Cult units, although Jeffrey himself is very strong. So the Die Hard card is being played by Cobra Kali. It's being played on Deadshot because he's relatively safe up on the scaffolding where he is. So that's played. They're also putting into play another ritual. Not necessarily going to actually score, but might as well put it into play as an option. Oh, and the Soldiers of Fortune cards are still over here. Apologies, I'm going to have to come over here and grab it because they are putting a phase 1 into play. It is Domination. So an event marker is going to be put in contact with an enemy model. Anyone can manipulate it to move at 4. At the end of the round, they want to have more units near it than not. It's going to be placed in contact with Jeffrey right there. So that'll be there once we get back after a break. Audacity wise, Bane's got it for Soldiers of Fortune, so does the Medic, so does Scarecrow, and so does... who else has it? McGregor does, right there. For the Cobra Cult, Deadshot does, Jeffrey does, Lady Eve does, and... well, let's see, is that the Captain or a Soldier? I'm going to guess Soldier. Is that Soldier? Yes it is, haha, I got it right. So with that, into Battle Round 2. So you were probably expecting Bane to activate first for the Soldiers of Fortune, given that they've got priority, but no, it was the Medic op who activated. He moved up into base to base with the Bane here, well, technically not in base to base, there we go, now he is. And he used as a special action Medic to heal Bane for 2 of the 4 blood damage he had. He then manipulated to put down a suspect marker right there, which let his passive called Paramedic kick in. When he puts down this was also a recently updated rule in the app. When he puts down a suspect marker, he can pick a friendly within 4 inches and heal them for 2. He healed the Lieutenant for 2 blood. He also put into play during his turn a global offensive, which we saw last time. So he didn't do anything to the enemy, but he did a lot of work there. Deadshot was first up for the Cobra Cult, opted not to punish the Medic by going after him, even though it probably would have been a secured kill, because he saw something juicier. He moved, he's got night vision, so he can ignore the night row, he's got medium range on his gun, so his non-pistols, his AR, whatever it is. So that's 16 inches, and he used rapid fire again, so technically he was only losing 1 die for moving and firing. He's an expert marksman for +1, he shot at Scarecrow, is the long and the short of it, because Scarecrow doesn't have stealth, or this version doesn't. And got him for 6 blood, 3 stun, which is enough that unfortunately Scarecrow is out of there. Now he's not a veteran anyway, so he wasn't counting towards that for Bane's crew. Obviously a bit rough losing him like that. If he hadn't taken full damage, he could have disappeared when a card was removed from the terror pile. But for doing that, Deadshot scored his unique card. $1 million shot. Make an enemy model with the leader, sidekick, or free agent rank KO, or remove it as a casualty with a ranged attack. And free agent is what that Scarecrow was. So Big Boy Bane activated for his crew, but before we cover his turn, a mistake was caught that can be rectified. Smash, much like Bane, has the tough guy role, so he actually counts as 2 people for the purposes of scoring objective cards, meaning at the end of the first turn the free-for-all actually should have scored. So we are just going to score it now because it did score. It was 2-1. Jeffrey wouldn't have done anything different because he still scored a card of his own, put him in a good position. So we're not going to correct that. He still would have most likely done exactly what he did because there wasn't any other target anyway. He could have attacked, I guess. Oh no, he removed a suspect marker to score a card, I think. So either way, he scored a card from what he did, but the free-for-all did score. So that is going in the score pile. Now we move on to Bane's wonderful turn, using Titan again for +1 strength, +1 attack and defense stats. And he charged at Lady Eve over here. He efforted twice. She did not, because he's doing double stun with handy bleed 2 on the strength die if it gets a crit. And he got her for a casual 10 stun damage. And that was despite her having +1 defense die, but of course she needed 6s. So, unconscious, knocked out, not dead, unconscious, but enough that Bane could score off the back of that another search and destroy. So that scored as well. He then used his special action for Savage Throw again. He picked up the sewer and he chucked the sewer grating at that's the captain, yes. The Lancehead captain got her in the head for 2 stun. Oh, and of course, in moving to where he did, he walked over a Ceto and has picked it up. Doesn't score, but he has to be holding on to it at the end of the game, but he does have his bear now. Well, upon recovering from getting a sewer grating to the face, the Lancehead captain did activate, stayed where she was, no audacity, and just shot the last of her ammunition. Didn't shoot it at Bane because that seemed like a futile effort. She shot it downwind at the medic. Didn't roll that well, honestly, even though she didn't need much to get him. She got 2 hits through, all said and done though. No bulletproof vest on the medic. Got him for 4, and he's a 4/4 miniature, so he is deceased. That is a veteran off the table for the purposes of global offensive. and scored the other sacrifice, because she is still within 4 of a friendly suspect marker. Ted Hunter activated without audacity. He just brought his shotgun to bear and shot it. It's medium range, although he was shooting at a target who wasn't eliminated, but still within 12. Shot it at the Lancehead 2 here, losing 1 die to cover, but the Lancehead is only defense 2, so he just needed a 2+ regardless on the 1 die. He got it for 2 blood, 1 stun. Thanks to Scarecrow already wounding him, that is enough that this 4/4 miniature is also deceased. During his turn, he also put into play another free-for-all. So that is just in play, and we'll see if it scores at the end of the round. Ted Hunter didn't really get to do anything specific this turn, but his kind of shenanigans are that he has the Hunter ability, so if he's shooting at someone who has already activated this turn, he can do a free special action, and he has special action good aim, and something else I think offhand. Other than that, he's got a bulletproof vest, and he's a veteran, and he can track as well, where you remove an enemy suspect marker within 4 to move 4, I think. So he is good for just kind of going around and unloading that shotgun into people. His shotgun has assault on it as well. Lancehead 1 activated for the Cobra Cult. No audacity marker, but he was next to Jeffrey more or less. He was in front or behind that suspect marker there. He moved up over here where his friend just died and put down a suspect marker using that free inspire. Not scoring anything, not playing anything, just trying to set up that ritual card. Smash activated for the Soldiers of Fortune, staying where he is but popping that venom dose that he had for a +1 strength and 2 free efforts when attacking or defending this turn. And he attacked Jeffrey with that big old mallet of his. It's blood stun, it's got devastating for 2 strength dice, handy and heavy. I believe Jeffrey did not do any efforts, and he had 2 free ones. Jeffrey opted to do none because he's trying to hold on for fear of faith points hurting him too much at the end of a turn, or to leave room for him to strike back. So Smash still had to get through his defense 5 and didn't. Only the strength dice, both of them, got through. So just 2 blood, 2 stun to Jeffrey there. Nothing else done and nothing else put into play. Now he does have a special action he couldn't use because he didn't have audacity. It's worth mentioning he's got Grudge Match, which is what the Bane Unleashed has, where you can challenge someone and no side can do efforts. Obviously not worth doing it against Jeffrey, who's much stronger than him, but just worth mentioning that's kind of like his thing. So thanks to Lady Eve getting knocked out and there being a couple of casualties, we're already at the second last activation, I believe, for the Cobra Cult, just leaving Jeffrey after this. The Lancehead Soldier activated, moved up with audacity, popped down a suspect marker behind him, and that does mean the ritual will score if everything stays as is before the end of the turn. He did, for 1 faith point, put new followers into play. This was just to spend a faith point. The friendly model gains the rest. It doesn't matter. Just to use the faith point to get rid of it that he generated from putting down the suspect marker so close to Jeffrey. And the second last activation for the Soldier of Fortune was the Lieutenant. Just moved up, no audacity, didn't do anything else and too close to another suspect marker. So she's just sitting tight behind Bane, hopefully ready to help him out next turn. She's got a frag grenade, so it is possible. Oh, Jeffrey weighed up his options. Does he manipulate the domination marker? It didn't really seem like the best option because Smash would just still count as 2 models, so would still win it. So the option he went with was kill Smash. He efforted twice, that's the most he could do, and didn't do that well with the roll. He used his double blood sword, it's got sharp on it for a reroll on the strength die. He got 3 hits through, 6 blood. Normally that'd kill a henchman, but Smash has 8 endurance, so he is alive on 2 remaining. So Jeffrey then just moved over here and got into base to base with Ted Hunter, kind of prepping for next turn, and that's the 2 effort there. He couldn't do 3 because of the blood damage accumulated on him. Oh no, it turns out Smash isn't as invincible as I was thinking. Forgot he had 2 blood damage from the Cobra Viral Bomb, which means he does actually have 8 blood damage, so he is dead. So that is another veteran off the table. And Jeffrey is still going to move over to Ted Hunter to keep him locked down next turn because there's no one around it, the domination marker. McGregor can still activate. He can obviously get there, but he'd have to make sure he kills the soldier, otherwise it's a draw. So that is still the best bet, but yeah, unfortunately that is Smash out of there. So last activation of the turn, McGregor came around the corner and went after the Lancehead Soldier to try and kill him so that he would be the only one within 4 of the domination marker. With the benefit of hindsight, the smart thing to do would be to have ended his movement on the far side, manipulated it, moved it even further away, and then would have ended the turn with only him within 4 and it would have scored for 3. But that's with hindsight, that's not what he did. He cracked out his blood stun sharp knife with sharp on it, not surprising anyone. He has Weapon Master as well for +1 to the rolls. He got 2 free efforts and +1 to his strength die because he used his venom dose, and he didn't do enough. He only got 3 hits through, 3 blood, 3 stun. The Lance-Head Soldier is a 5/5 model, but you know, again, that was a mistake. He should have just moved the marker. But from where he moved there, as a special action, because he had Audacity, he used Coordination and shouted over to Ted Hunter, "Hey, pull your knife out and stab that weird cultist guy." So he did. Coordination just means if you share a keyword, you can do an action with a teammate with an 8. So Ted Hunter brought out his knife, sharp, single blood, got 1 hit on Jeffrey. It was the strength die though, and it was a crit. So Jeffrey is on the ground, knocked down. And that takes us to the end of Battle Round 2. So at the end of Battle Round 2, both sides have suffered casualties, although the Soldiers of Fortune more so. Although that said, a couple of the cultists are very close to going down. Lady Eve woke up, so she's just eaten dirt on the ground as well, so she will be able to activate. And no additional cards being played by the cult, but we can cover the ones in play. Die Hard scores, because a Deadshot is totally fine, and Ritual actually also scores as well. So 2 of those 4 suspect markers will be removed in a moment. I'm not sure which ones yet. Of the Soldiers of Fortune cards, Aceto stays in play on Bane. Global Offensive doesn't score, thanks to the casualties. You don't take away the suspect markers for Ritual until all this is handled, the end of turn scoring. So it's a draw, so it doesn't score. The Domination has covered kind of by McGregor's activation. Did not do the right thing, did not score. But Free For All actually does, because with Jeffrey moving away and Smash being dead, the only person within 4 of the middle of the board is McGregor. So that did score for 2. And thanks to where McGregor moved and Ted Hunter still being alive, they can score the other ground war. So that has also scored. And I think that covered everything. Bane passed his poison roll. Let's go to set up to turn 3. Top of Battle Round 3, the penultimate round. All 4 survivors of the Soldiers of Fortune have their Audacity markers. For the Cobra Cult, it's Deadshot, Lady Eve, Jeffrey, and Lancehead, one with his little knife there. There's a single card being put into play. It's another Domination marker for Bane's crew, and it's being placed in contact with the captain down there. So Bane's going to be trying to control that. Speaking of which, it is the Soldiers of Fortune who actually managed to snatch first activation again, and I think the big boy himself is going to do some damage. So it was the big Bane himself that activated. He charged into the Lancehead Soldier and, long story short, clubbed her for 10 stun. She's knocked out. He then, as a special action, used Savage Throw to pick up that Sword Grating again and hawked it at Lady Eve's face, knocking her out again for 2 stun damage. This mostly is just so that he's the only one near the marker. However, it's worth mentioning, in the app it's been recently updated in a semi-sloppy manner that now status effects are listed with the word status. It doesn't even say keyword status. They just went in and pasted the word status at the start of the description of stuff like poison, fire, etc. That's because up until now, using the compendium, being knocked out or being made a casualty were listed in status effects, because they are statuses. It is a state of being to be unconscious or not, or being dead or not. And that's changed now. But we're going to ignore that until such time as the compendium is updated, because that's the thing you have to send people to so they know what traits do. So, for knocking her out, we are scoring I'm Feeling Weird. Technically that should not be possible based on the app, but the app and the compendium are at odds, so until that is changed, we're still doing this. The Lancehead Soldier activated, the real one, because I think I accidentally called the captain a soldier again. Activated without Audacity, but within 8 of Jeffrey, moved round the shipping container here, and just enough of this is also blocking line of sight, that when he put down a suspect marker, nobody could draw line of sight to him, even though the lieutenant is there-ish. But he is within 6 of McGregor, so he scored the second and last Can Be Anyone. McGregor activated for Soldiers of Fortune and went after Lancehead 1, efforting twice with his Blood Stun Whipping Master Sharp combat knife or combat machete. The Lancehead did not. He did have 1 extra defense die. Didn't bother putting the damage down just because it's a bit awkward where he's hidden. But 5 hits got through, all said and done. For 5 blood, 5 stun, he's a 4/4 model, so more than enough that he is out of there and will not be getting an activation. Now, independent of that happening, McGregor put Cyber Attack into play during his turn. Unfortunately, rolled a 3 for the D3 roll, so 5 on 2 enemy suspect markers, there and there. It'll count down after each subsequent, is it enemy activation? I always forget. No, just subsequent model, so it might not score this turn based on how many are left, but it will score in the last turn, assuming both those suspect markers are still there. Jeffrey activated and had to start by getting up from being knocked down. He really wanted to beat up Ted Hunter, not Dead Hunter, although it might end up being that, or going after McGregor, but scoring points is important, and I think the cult is ahead. They don't usually do this well, especially not against a team that's really good, like Soldiers of Fortune. So he opted for a score instead. He went over here, revealed the suspect marker that had been placed there by McGregor in turn 1, I think it was, and scored another sabotage because Soldiers of Fortune didn't do some denial play by getting a suspect marker of their own within 4 of an edge. Second last activation for Bane's crew was the Lieutenant Op. She moved up into base to base with the unconscious Lady Eve and smacked her with her electric baton, double stun, but for every hit you get on an unconscious foe you do 1 blood damage. She only got 3 hits through. The roll was not great despite the target being unconscious, but 3 blood is 3 blood, and she just wanted to get closer to the domination marker more than anything else. So Ted Hunter still has to go for them, but it's over to Deadshot first. We'll do a little bit of an awkward overhead view for Deadshot's turn. He moved down here, dropped down here, that's enough for his 10 inches to cover the drops. And he shot the Lieutenant up in the back with his pistols because he's out of assault rifle ammo. Got her 3 times for 3 blood, 3 stun, not enough to take her out. And as much as Ted Hunter wanted to try and take out Jeffrey, there's no points in that. He walked down here and put down a suspect marker within 8 but out of line of sight to score a Black Ops. Finally got one of those into hand. So that has scored, and that's taking us to the scoring for the round. So then about round 3, Lady Eve has once again woken up. Will she get a turn? I don't know, we'll have to see. The soldier, captain, soldier, forgotten again. Whichever, she didn't wake up, so it doesn't matter. Her game is over unless she gets beaten to a pulp on the floor. Bane passes poison roll, and there's no cards being put into play. There's none in play for the cult. Their scoring is definitely slowed down from the start of the game. The Soldier's Fortune though, Cyber Attack still has 2 ticks left on it to go. Aceto stays in play. Domination scores though. Bane is worth 2 miniatures, and the Lieutenant is also there within of the marker, so that has scored for 3. And that's it. Let's go into the final round. Dawn of the final day, top of Battle Round 4, and the Soldiers of Fortune have managed to retain first activation, which I think sadly means for a certain cultist lady that she's going to meet the business end of a thrown surging for the 3rd time. Anyway, everybody who's still alive and conscious on the table has audacity for both sides, and the final domination being put into play is the only additional card, and it's being put exactly where Bane had the last one because it worked out so well. So we'll see how that works out for them as we go into the quick final turn. So yes, Bane immediately started his turn by picking up the sword grating and once again chucking it into Lady Eve's face, knocking her out. Her game is over. He then moved after Deadshot. Now he is still within 4 of the event marker, worth pointing out. And I can't remember if I mentioned, but he has Tough Guy, so he counts as 2. He efforted... Oh, sorry, no he didn't, because he used a Titan. He used Titan Dose, last one of the game. Deadshot didn't do anything because it's double stun coming in with handy for rerolls. And didn't bother putting the markers down, but it was 12 stun damage. So Deadshot is out there for the game as well. And Bane was able to score a cheeky 1 point with They Must Know Pain. The Lancehead Captain Soldier, Soldier Captain, Captain Soldier activated, came around the corner here and just revealed the suspect marker that Ted Hunter put down in order to score the final sabotage. So that's all 3 of them scored now. So just looking at what else is possible in terms of scoring for the cult, they can't really do anything. At the end of that activation their cyber attack did actually score because it would have counted down to 0. Both these suspect markers are right there. The only thing the Bane's crew can do, Soldiers of Fortune that would score anything, is either Ted Hunter or McGregor could activate, walk down here, remove that suspect marker right there, and score a confusion. That's literally the last thing they could do. Both sides ended up with their viable commodities in hand only in turn 4, meaning they can't be played. So we're just going to call it with this confusion card being scored. Jeffrey could go kill one of them, not going to score anything on it. And there's nothing else for him to do over there that would result in a score at this point. They scored a lot of their cards early though, so this is going to be real close I think, but we'll do the final recap properly. So yeah, at the end of the game we're just going to cover the other cards. As just mentioned, Cyber Attack would have scored at the end of that Cobra activation for 2. Bane ended the game with Aceto in his possession, so that does also score, and the domination does. Now that is a lot of points to gain there, 6, 7, that's 8 points. That could swing it because the flow of this game has actually been pretty fun. Like, the Cobra Cult came out the gate swinging, scoring really high early on. Then Soldiers of Fortune pulled it back, started scoring more, but then they started losing people faster, so Cobra Cult started scoring more. And then at the end here, with Bane just decimating everybody, they started scoring easier again. So I think it's going to be close. We'll see. Well, upon feeling the size of each score pile, I think the Soldier's Fortune had probably taken this at the end here with those 8-point difference. But let's count it up and see for sure, starting with the Cobra Cult. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Very healthy score, very good score, 28. Not bad. I do think this is more than 28, but let's see. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35. Yeah. 28 plays 35. Both good scores though. Like, this did not feel one-sided until Bane started murdering everyone and chucking sword rings at everyone's head. Or a detonator. Like, who wants to defuse a bomb? Just use the detonator as a weapon. That was very funny. Anyway, that was enjoyable. Yeah, the second outing, I think, for Arkham Bane. And he's fun. Probably still not as good as Unleashed Bane, but fun. And the Cobra Cult did okay. And is much less complicated than Deacon Blackfire, I will say that. As for the suppressors, the medic is great, but exceptionally fragile. That paramedic trait, where he just gets an extra little reward for putting down a suspect marker, being able to heal a teammate, is really good. McGregor, him having coordination is key. He's super cheap for our Soldiers of Fortune henchmen, and having coordination as a special action is actually really good. Ted Hunter, he didn't really get to do as much as I would have liked. Take advantage of, like, being able to track people and having the Hunter rule. Smash, well, he got smashed. His own fault for getting caught in a viral bomb, to be honest. And Scarecrow, no, he got sniped. What can you do? But anyway, that is going to do it. Thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to show your support. And if you'd like to go above and beyond to help support the channel, consider becoming a channel member or pressing the thanks button on a video you particularly enjoyed. It's all reinvested in the channel and helps keep this possible. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you in the future for more. Until then, ta for now.